Orlando Pirates' coach said that he could not say that they played beautiful football against Siwelele FC. And we're going to look at what exactly he meant by that. What did they do so bad, or what did Siwelele make them do? But how did they also find the one and the only breakthrough goal that got them 3 points? So let's start with how Pirates were trying to play from the back. As you can see here, Sepo China is trying to bait the Ohizu of Siwelele to come and press him. But Ohizu just stands his ground. He doesn't press him because what he wants him to do is to pass the ball to the left center back or the right center back. And as you can see with the dotted lines, there are men who are ready to press should the ball go wide. And if you look at central options as well, you can also see that everyone centrally is marked. So basically, Pirates did not have a lot of outlets when it comes to playing the ball from the back. So instead, what would end up happening is that as it looked like earlier on, you see that Umbata here looks like he can be marked, but the person who's marking him has to decide whether to mark him or to mark Umbogazi. But this was on purpose by Siwelele because as you can see here, Mbata looks like he's on his own, no one is marking him. But this was a trap because most of the times whenever the ball went to him, then he would be vigorously pressed. And as you can look around him, there are no other options. Everyone is pressed and everyone has someone paying attention to them. So you saw that Pirates then just resorted to just kicking the ball long because there were no easy options. Again, Bata gets the ball, he gets dispossessed. And not just him, because the same thing was happening to Nduli. Gets on the ball in that area, he gets dispossessed. And even in the second half, it comes back, there is pressure on Nduli, and it just was not able to play. So what did Pirates do? A lot of times they just went with diagonals and more diagonals. And the only diagonal actually that almost worked is this one, where it was played to Hoto and he got a touch on the ball, but then it was not scored. So a lot of diagonals by Pirates, but then again, you look at it, it's like one of those that as a coach, you go, okay, this is what we're going to try and do. If this doesn't work, go back to default settings. So it's like one of those things for Pirates that if anything else or the main thing that they're trying to do does not work, then they just go to diagonals. But what were they trying to do? Well, let's go to it. But before we do that, do make sure to subscribe to the channel if you are enjoying the content so far. This is one of the things that Pirates were trying to do. Movement on and off the ball. So this is off the ball movement. So we have Usiema here being on the ball. And what you see in the back post, at the back post, there are 3 Orlando Pirates players, which means the Siwelele defense has to be pulled across to the right-hand side. And the second thing that has happened, you have Urele Mfukeng dragging a defender with him, and you also have Lebitso pinning a defender to that right-hand side because the last thing you want is Lebitso carrying the ball and then crossing the ball while there is Mabas. So they don't want that to happen. But also they don't want Mfukeng to get the ball, so there's someone who's always tighter to him. But this creates an issue. Now there's that huge gap behind the defense because 1, they've pulled the defense to one side, and 2, they are also pinning the other players, or they're also stretching the other players and pulling them to the side. And as a result, Pirates would get themselves into these areas with Tito Maswanganyi, who could play cutbacks, and well, it just did not happen because Siwelele was still quick enough to recover from those things. But this does not mean they ended there, because again you have Tito Maswanganyi dropping into this area, you have a defender following him there, and in this happening you also see that Mfukeng, Tito Maswanganyi is right there and is now making a run forward, and Konyane now follows Mfukeng because, as I said earlier, they do not want him to get the ball. But Konyane is a center back. That means if he's here, then there's space where he's supposed to be. And then Pirates would try to find Utito running into that space that was vacated by Konyane. But the passes were just not good enough. And Siwelele were kind of counting on this. So another thing that is worth seeing here is obviously that now when Osuna police came in, we started seeing something that is interesting. So Osuna police and Fukeng are very good at playing between the lines. By trade, they are wingers, right? But they invert and become inside forwards. So now what you would see is that there would be between the defensive line and the midfield line. And with them being there, that would mean that they are kind of not marked by anyone because the defenders behind them cannot really step out of their positions to mark Mfukeng no Apolis. But at the same time, the midfielders cannot step back and go mark Osuna Police no Mfukeng, because that means now they're allowing Unduli to play the ball, which they did not want to do. So then Mfukeng no Police for the most part were just left as if they did not have someone marking them. And we're going to see that work out later on, even building up to the goal. So then what would happen is that you'll find Apolis then being in these spaces that are free, because as I said, he's just behind the midfield. So the midfield are facing that way, Apolis is behind them. So then he just comes in front of them, he gets the ball. And as you can see in this clip, Hoto plays him the ball and then he finds Mfukeng in the area, and then Rale is supposed to be scoring here, but he misses that chance. And here is another thing that I was talking about. You see that Mfukeng and Apolis are just behind the midfield line. So technically no one is marking them. And I have highlighted the space that they have. It's small, but we're talking about Mfukeng and Apolis here, so they can make use of any space, because as you can see, the midfield line are focused on whoever is in front of them and not necessarily the people who are behind them. So how does this work? Well, in a goal, for the goal, you will see that Orlando Pirates were doing a smart thing. One, Apolis and Mfukeng are between the lines. So the midfielders are focused on what's in front of them, not what's behind them. And the defenders are focused on Mabasa in front of them. So now what happens is the ball is played into this space. This space, by the way, is created by the fact that the defenders are very much aware of what's happening behind them, so they can't be too aggressive and try to close the space down. This is now where Pirates can play the ball. And since there's space in front of the defenders, Mfukeng now right behind the midfielder who's tracking him and thinking he still sees him, changes the direction of his run, and now he's lost his man, and now he can receive the ball. Upon receiving the ball, he can now drive into the space that is in front of the midfielders. And once he's here, Pirates have overloaded zone 14 again, because now you have three players who are there, and Mfukeng can play the ball into that space. Now people can say, oh, this was a heavy touch, or this was luck by Mahopa. For you to be there and there's a teammate next to you, it's by design, because it's so that even if they were to lose the ball there, they can still counter press and win the ball there. So where the Mahopa didn't touch the ball properly, the point is it was played into that space and there were teammates close enough to him, and in this case it was Apolis who then gets the ball and then he shoots, and then we know that Pirates won the game like that. Now in defense, these are things that Pirates need to address, because they were bad at winning aerial ball. So here they don't win the aerial ball, and not just the first ball but the second ball as well is won by Siwelele. And this happened across the game. Siwelele wins the first ball and Siwelele wins the second ball. And what would end up happening is that they would then give away these half chances like this one. Now you've invited 4 attackers of Siwelele into your box because you couldn't deal with the first ball, and they now in your 18 area. The second one is Siema. This mistake here of him missing the ball, he did this in the final of the top 8. And he did not just do it here, but he also did it in the second half, and then they ended up conceding a free kick. Now, this is not to say he sucks, he should never play for Pirates, but me personally, I've already noted this mistake more than once. So if I was the next team to play Pirates, I would just say target Siema, play aerial balls, or just do something on his side, because we already know they're on the side of Mbogazi, it's very difficult to go there. So targets him. So that's just the thing, as the coach of Pirates did say that they are going to look at those things. But what did you think of the game? Do let me know down on the comment section below. Check out this video that YouTube think you might like. Subscribe to the channel, and I will see you on the next one. Bye bye.